Right. So, brother Victor, do you not want your president to travel?
Yeah. Yes,
Shouldn't,
traveling a lot.
shouldn't he travel? Because as president, he should
Yeah,
travel, shouldn't he?
he travels a lot. Like he's just okay for the traveling, but he can't in a week. Today, like yesterday, was in Dubai. Like a week does not end when the president is not out of the country. Like he's back going. That's not really good.
But there must be a reason why he's doing that. He loves you
But
people. He's got problems for you
it's too
guys.
much. It is too much. The other time he was giving a speech to in EU Parliament, I think. So we're speaking of more of this financial architecture, but realize that at the end of it all, those people still like they clapped there, but also they voted against it again. So like it's more of I don't know what they're doing. And he
Mm,
went there, made a speech. I saw like it's more of this cognitive dissonance of what we talk about. It's very,
mm,
it's pathetic for us. Yeah, yeah.
right.
Because
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you. So we've heard from Brother Victor in terms of what is happening on the continent. In his part of Africa, the president is traveling too much, according to the citizens. Well, if we have a united Africa, will the president need to travel that much? Or can the president stay on African soil and solve our problems? Thank you very much. Let's hear from Sister Shola, where she is. So, Sister Shola, how are you seeing Africa from where you are? What's the story?
Nothing much from my end.
Oh, really? Nothing's happening from where, and as you look at Africa, nothing's happening. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing that. Brother Russ, what's going on? What do you see from where you are? The African situation. Brother Russ is not on speaker, so he won't be able to speak. Okay, let's go to Percy. Percy Zengeni, first time I am seeing you. I'm Brother Kwame. Let me actually alter my name on the screen so you can all read my name. So, Percy, where are you? Where are you based? And can you share with us what is happening where you are, please?
Actually, I'm based in South Africa. That's in Joburg.
Hmm. Excellent.
Yes.
And
Yeah. I don't have much to share currently. But just
what's happening in
observing.
South Africa? What's happening in South
I'm
Africa?
observing. I'm observing. Uh, you know, as for me currently, I've actually shunned away a bit from the media, from the current affairs. I'm in hibernation, if I could say. There's
Why?
things which I'm kind of studying, and I've shunned away from the media and the current affairs which is happening in the country.
Mm,
So yes, I'm in my small cocoon, my small box. I'll come out as soon as I'm
no.
done with what I'm busy with.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not well updated with the current status of the country.
Mm,
Neither am I with our continent.
right.
So let me say I'm on the back seat, yeah, observing what's actually happening, and
Mm,
learning and listening to the elders.
okay.
So as I've joined this group to absorb what I can absorb,
Yeah.
um, I'm out of the space of public media actually for now.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you, brother.
Right. Right. Thanks for letting us know. I hope you feel safe here because this is a safe space. Yeah. Even though we are recording it, it's a safe space. And if anybody doesn't want us to share, let us know, and we won't share the recording because we prize the confidentiality and the safety of all our visiting members. Um, so let me ask Myra what's happening from where she is, and then how she's also seeing Africa from where she is. Myra.
Um, so because even though I live in the UK, I try to follow what's happening in Uganda. So at the
Mm,
moment, the opposition party called the National Unity Platform, NUP, is demanding for its supporters
Which
that
country is this?
Uganda.
Oh, Uganda, right? Is that where you come from, by the way?
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
So the opposition party NUP is demanding for the people that were abducted or kidnapped by the police and the secret services to be brought back. These people are kidnapped every day because they support the opposition and they don't support the government. So there are about 18 people that were kidnapped and they're demanding where they are. The MPs from the opposition party have decided to leave the parliament until they get a satisfactory answer as to where these people are. So that's kind of a stalemate at the moment. Then in other news, in the north of the country, the actually people who live in the north are demanding that the government stop taking their land. So that's an ongoing dispute going on. And then recently in the city center, the Muslim community has had most of its property sold off through some fraudulent activities.
Really?
Everyone is saying that it's obviously the government behind this because the government is well known for stealing people's land and also for criminalizing Muslims. So that's also another scandal that is going on at the moment. And that's really the summary of it.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. So, right. Well, thanks for letting us know all this is going on in Uganda. Right. So here in England, all I can report is the ongoing demonstration against the government for ceasefire in Palestine. I think that is the most high-profile event or series of events that has been going on. During the Armistice Day, which was sometime last week, the week past, the government tried to ban demonstrations and pressured the police to deny people the right to march, and the police refused and allowed the march to go on, and it was well attended. There was no violence, and people were saying that if there's any day where we can march and march for peace, what better day than the day when we are all remembering, the Armistice Day, the Second World War, and why there should be no more wars. Isn't that the best day to remember it? So the police did very well. They were able to withstand the political pressure and allow the march to go ahead. So this was about a week ago. Yesterday, the day before yesterday, when I was coming home, when I got to my railway station, there was a lot of noise. When I got there, I found out that the station had been occupied by pro-Palestine supporters, organized by the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign. And they had taken over the whole station, not the whole station, but at least three-quarters, about two-thirds of the station, about two-thirds, yeah. And they had sat on the ground and they were just chanting, "Free, free Palestine, free, free Palestine." And as you know, my union supports I belong to the National Education Union, and I'm a trade unionist. I'm also a district president of my union, and so as you can see, I'm wearing the lanyard of the Free Palestine movement, the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign. So at the time I had it on, so I just took it out, put it on so it was visible, and I joined them. I also shouted a few slogans, and I had to leave because my train had arrived and I didn't want to be late getting home. So in England, that's the main event, the main thing now on the public imagination. And there was a vote in Parliament about a week or so ago, and that vote was for whether the government should call for ceasefire. And the vote was a yes for not. The vote rejected the calling for a ceasefire and claimed that the Israelis were defending themselves. The newspaper published all the voting pattern. And they published it, and I looked at the voting pattern, and it might interest you to know that the voting pattern was very interesting in the sense that um, um, the those who voted to reject or to uphold the government position or to call for a ceasefire were about 225, I think, and I'm not sure about the exact numbers. And those who voted against were outnumbered by those who voted against were outnumbered by those who voted for. But when I looked at those who didn't vote at all, it might interest you to know that those who did not vote, plus those who voted against, out of 694 parliamentarians of Westminster, those who voted and those who didn't vote were in the majority to those who voted. So out of 694 parliamentarians, only about 225 voted for. That means that just about 400 parliamentarians either voted against or did not vote for the motion, or did not vote to support the government. So what it means is that, this is the way I interpret it. It means that the British people, the majority of British people, did not support what the government was doing, because the parliamentarians did not vote to support the government. They did not vote at all. And then some voted, about 100 and something voted. And their number was more than those who voted to uphold the government's position. So this is how I read the numbers. And it was very, very interesting. And as I said, so it means that the national mood, although it's not outside for you to see, because people are not expressing their real view. But what it's saying is that the majority of the British people are not happy with what is going on in Palestine and what the British government is doing. So that is the story from here in the UK. Thank you. The time is 7:30. We've heard from around the world, from various a number of us. The other thing I also want to report to us was that Sister Myra here was able to organize with a sister of ours on the continent, and they wanted to do a recording to be shared via television and so on, in the celebration of the great statesman of Nigeria, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, and his relationship with Osajifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. So they wanted to do a recording on it. Sister Mara here arranged it through the Nkrumah Trusts, the Kwame Nkrumah Trust, and that happened today. So it's been recorded. They will share with us with the recording once it's all edited and so on, and we can also share. So I would like on our behalf to thank Sister Myra for leading that for us and for making that happen. They've asked that we make ourselves available should they have further questions during the editing. And on behalf of us, I've assured them that if they need any help, they should let us know, and that we are happy to answer further questions. What it also means is that we now have, if you like, some collaboration from Nigeria, which means that if in the future we also need something doing in terms of recording for the continent, we can also call on them and they will do it for us. So it's a win-win situation. I have said before that what we are doing may seem small, because when we come to this meeting, we are not a lot. But imagine how a conflagration starts. Imagine how a whole forest is burnt to the ground. It's always a small fire either a march, a small march that was late, or they finished their barbecue and then they put out the fire, but they forgot to put out all the fire, and a small fire was left, or somebody smoked and then they threw the match instead of making sure the match was completely extinguished. They throw that unfinished cigarette into a bush, and then before you realize, a whole forest is on fire. So we might seem like a small group, but I can see the possibility of us being the light, the match that lights the philosophical and ideological light. Because one of the things they were asking is, how can the youth be made more politically conscious? And what we were doing and what they were doing is part of it. So thank you. That's the news from our end in terms of what we are doing, the little we are doing in order to spread the philosophy and ideology. Incidentally, we've been joined by Brother Coco, so he might want to share something with us before Brother Victor starts his presentation. Samara, I wanted to say something. Feel free to, if you want to.
No, just thank you for the good words.
You're welcome. So, thank you. So, Brother Coco, do you want to say anything? What is happening in Africa from where you are sitting? What is happening even in Lesotho? What is going on? Any news?
Not much going on at the moment, except that the government which was voted into power last year, September,
in Lesotho?
which was threatened by a motion of no confidence about a couple of months ago, was stabilized by a coalition with a new partner. So one of the newer parties, which was formed just before the recent elections, joined hands with the current ruling party, and they were able to avoid being destabilized just under a year in power, because the motion of no confidence in Lesotho is just a simple majority. And in the 120 member parliament, the 65 is enough, 62 is enough, 61 is enough, even more or less like what we saw in Brexit, 52-48 that we saw. But at the same time, they've been dragging their feet, not implementing the reforms which were meant to sort of deal with some of these instabilities in parliament, such as the floor crossing, because members of parliament are free to cross the floor anytime and join any party of their own, which again is sort of selling democracy short, because if you were voted into parliament by people because you were wearing colors of a certain party, and then all of a sudden within 12 months or within up to 36 months, really you cannot change, because you have the mandate for the people to deliver for them. But we found that a lot of people in the Lesotho parliament were doing that floor crossing, and that was what was destabilizing this government. But they are learning to work together. They are learning to work together. Incidentally, again, it's a celebrating.
Coco, what kind of government? Yeah, sorry,
Pardon?
go on. No, go on. I was asking a different question. Yeah, go on.
Go ahead before I go, because then.
No, I was asking what kind of government is in office. Is it a progressive, liberal, or conservative government?
So interestingly, they see themselves as progressive, because the guy who was the richest guy in Lesotho, incidentally, a private businessman, decided to run, and he formed a party barely 9 months before elections and managed to win the, majority, but not enough to form a party, a government on his own. Because of the way we do it, is the first past the post, and then a proportional representation, which means you really have to win a lot of seats in order to guarantee your majority in parliament.
Right.
So he is a new guy in politics, let me say, and it shows. lack of experience also has played a part, because most of us we think, okay, we'll go into government and then we'll change things overnight. It doesn't happen like that. The previous government had run out of money. They had finished the money, so these guys have to stabilize that first before they can start delivering on their own manifesto. So lots of challenges, but the government is still in power. It is still in power. At least it doesn't look like we're going to have those 2-year governments for the past. I mean, between 2012 and 2019, I think we had a government every 2 years. Government every 2 years. That doesn't work. Doesn't help for continuity or implementation of policies.
But
So
Gogo,
yeah,
some people argue also that even the 5 years is not enough.
absolutely, I agree with them. It's 5 years is nothing. I think I have worked in government and I've seen how that happens. Even here in this country, there is too much uncertainty. There's too much uncertainty. You don't know what's going to happen next year when we go to elections again. What's going to happen with the programs we are trying to implement? Are they going to change them, or are they going to want to deliver faster? But at the moment, Rishi Sunak and his buddies here, they are trying to reduce resources, in short, for instance. So we don't know what's going to happen. Is it going to be them again? And are they going to be taking out their frustrations on government, trying to reduce resources spent in government, head count? We don't know. Yeah. So the one thing I was going to say on Lesotho was formed by the late Kim Shweshwe in 1824 through a coalition of different tribes. So next year will be 200 years of the formation of Lesotho, not since independence, because again he came together during the time when Shaka had risen in the east and was a power which was trying to consolidate all of the tribes at that time. And the country was in turmoil. There were refugees. So we in Lesotho, we are mostly a nation of refugees. And that over 200 years, we have managed to stand together. So next year will be marking that milestone.
Yeah. Interestingly, when Buzia of Ghana came to office and he passed the Aliens Compliance Act, and our fellow Africans were asked to leave Ghana at the time.
Yeah.
Nkrumah asked the question: aliens in Africa?
Exactly.
Can you have refugees? Can you have refugees in Africa? When the continent belongs to us. Anyway, thank you for
that. Before I leave
yeah.
I mean, here in the UK, there is something which I don't know if you have reported on it, because Rishi Sunak refused to meet the Prime Minister of Greece because they are asking for the return of their Elgin marbles.
Yes.
And those Elgin marbles have been stolen, in short. But the Brits won't admit that they were stolen. They want to say they were captured, or some flimsy idea of how the Elgin marbles, which are Greek in origin, have to be in the ownership of British Museum. So it will be a precedent if they were to return them for anyone else whose national treasure were looted by the British to demand that. So I think that is why they are sort of being shifty about it, because they don't want lots of other countries to demand that they return their property.
Yeah, no, thanks for reminding us about the Greek thing, because incidentally, Palestine and the Greek matter apparently has really affected the British population abroad, and it's not very good. But there are some books that were stolen from Ethiopia by the British when they went there. And some of them are very old manuscripts, and they are in the possession of the crown. And they claim that they are inalienable, meaning that they belong to the British now. They will never give them up. So if the Ethiopians want them back, they will have to come and fight a war with England to get those things back, unless England is willing to give them up peacefully. And it's similar to all the things like you're saying that they went to loot around the world. Even the crown itself, that crown that they wear, doesn't the diamond belong to us or to the Indians or whoever? So it looks like if they give up what all they stole, there'll be nothing left here. So we will have to go back home, Brother Coco, because there'll be nothing here. There'll be nothing here left for us. Right. Thank you all for coming and sharing your story of what's happening around the world. Remember why we are here. We are here to have a conversation about Africa and the conversations around the unification of Africa and the fact that we don't talk enough about Africa and the fact that for Africa to move forward, we need to have one continental government and not 55 neo-colonial governments, some of which are monarchies like Morocco, Morocco, the other one, not Mauritania.
Lesotho, Swaziland.
Swaziland, yeah. I was thinking of the other North African country that is also a monarchy, apart from Morocco. Anyway, so
it is none. It's just Morocco in the north now,
yeah,
because Libya toppled their monarchy under Gaddafi.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there are 55 of them, and the welfare of our people is not changing, hasn't changed. In Swaziland, we hear it's a monarchy that is suppressing the people, and they all one people, and yet the monarchy is suppressing them. And it's as if the whole of Swaziland belongs to one family, just as in England, one family in principle owns the entire country, and everybody is a subject of the crown, even though they try and convince themselves that they are citizens, but they're actually subjects. So we have 55 of those in Africa. Some of them are just stealing resources. They're not really contributing anything to the country. They're just stealing and stealing resources. Sister Ida, welcome. I like your hat, by the way.
Thank you.
So today we are going to be hearing from our own brother Victor. I have shared his screen.
I love my bloody thing.
Yeah, so who is speaking? Brother Victor, can you still see your screen on the screen, or has it changed?
Yes, I can do that. In fact, now I can even now I can even share mine. I don't know if you can allow me.
Has the power returned?
But it's just okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
but just you can still share, but whether you can just.
I'm happy to stop sharing.
Share.
So you can share. Yeah. I'm going to stop sharing so you can share. Is that okay? Yeah. Thank you.
Okay,
So I'm stop sharing. I've stopped sharing. You can share. If you need me to share, just let me know. Victor, if it will take time, you can just share from. Let me just share it for you, so you can just do the presentation, and then I click.
Yeah, it is still disabled, so you can.
I change the slides for you as and when you want.
Yeah, it is still disabled.
Which one would you like?
Okay, please. Thank you.
Should I do it for you?
Yeah, go ahead, because it is still.
Yeah, right. So it's on the screen, brother.
Because you can share. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so we had a very good topic today, which is very, very vital for our growth and for empowering Africa. And I believe that this is a very good topic that we need to really take keenly in our everyday concern, actually, in terms of developing Africa. So my name is Victor. I'm from Kenya. I'm a very strong Pan-Africanist. I'm very passionate about it so much. I'm also a computer scientist by profession, and my focus is ICTs for socioeconomic development. I consider myself an expert in that area. And also, I'm a founder of Africa Digital Inclusion Alliance. And if you remember back, there was a time we were asking even for the Zoom meeting, these accounts, so that we conduct some of the vital meetings that we are conducting, uh, trainings across the continent. So this is me. I want us to go through this important topic, and how best you can look it from the framework of how best can we unite Africa. So you can just go to the next slide. It's a very short presentation that is just more of discussion and getting point. So this is a very important for me. I just wanted to make the house uh, very active one, and need us to be very active in this conversation. Also, I want us to see every barrier or everything that you're going to be talking more of possible, because the reason has been that we Pan-Africanists, we tend to run so fast in clear the what is there as a barrier than what can we really do and even overcome everything that is going to happen. So let's have this receptive form of mindset and a correctional aspect of it. Also be open to putting things that we need to put right. But let's be open to understanding every diverse aspect of our economy, not just from the point of technology now, but even from the normal setting of everything that we are doing. So let's set to go. Let's to have this conversation because it's very important for economy. So I always say that governments govern a country from the aspect of governance, which is very important. Though even now you add Brother Coco saying that there's a way that there's a control. Let me say the government can. So the issue is that Africa of governance. There I come. I want to do anything of that we can't really be of. Like the past can never influence what we do. So governance is key, but the governments are people doing that. But the governments are governing on a more of a short-lived basis. But we have corporations that run a country. I'll give an example. This uh, called Stanbic Bank. Yeah? If you look at the foundation, there's some banks in Africa started as early as 1890 something. It's true, like let me say, they were not operating the way they are operating now, but the essence of why they were formed is still running until today. They have been operating for over 100 years in Africa. To some extent, they are running us in a way, which means they have been continuously running how we operate. And in fact, they're not stopping any day soon. We have to just acknowledge this as a way. So which means all this, if you see that for today, any government for it to speak out well, it has to say that, okay, we are going to do this. I want to give you how technology rules the world. That is now the corporations are running the world, which means the corporates, there's an aspect of it as running. Then the technology now is ruling. Today, we are in a global village. We consider it a global village in terms of how we connect and do everything. But the ruling aspect comes from the inventions that are coming here every day and again, the tools we use, everything that is coming. So ruling the world means that there are people will always own this form of technologies. From the issue of like having the like more of, I don't know, they consider it right to own that, yeah. But having that technology means they rule the world. I'll tell you an example with our country, Kenya. There was this time where there was a program whereby the OpenAI, this new chat GPT company, was coming to Kenya. They were scanning the eyes of citizens and giving them an incentive of close to $70. So many people were turning up and they were being given. So I realized that they were being scanned so that they get the data, which is a new oil in this century. But the government stopped. When the government stopped, that company followed up through a backdoor, influenced the government to come to institute a program that is called, they were to now say that everybody has to pay over $10 to get an ID, like identification card. If you are to get one, if you lost one, you have to move by, which means they were told now they need to have a digital ID fully operational in the country. The issue is they were not just focusing on raising fees for being identified as a citizen in our country, but now they were just more of, they were saying that this issue is they want to bring more of digital ID, scanning the same thing that was being done with our citizens, being now done for free, but with the government influence, because the government has been influenced from the other side. This is more of something that is very practical from the aspect of, is on is on a geopolitical aspect of it. Yeah. So I want us just to get that the aspect of how government can control, but the government is can do 10 years, but corporation could be over 100 years, but technology will keep changing, and every two of the things that, because it's what is very continuous and very more of adaptive. So can just go to the next slide to be very short. Slide. Yeah, so I want us to see the nature of technology in Africa. This is very important for us to see. Whenever you talk technology in continents, the first thing people will always say is more of a privilege. Some people still consider it today. They don't see it as a necessity. They don't know that even our forefathers were having different kinds of. In fact, every invention that is made today, the aspect of it to some extent. Yeah, in every, as Africans, we call, like, we just, it's a privilege for me to use to have a device. Also, we just see this is what we consider technology. We don't even we call it a privilege. We just feel like I just have to have the skills, which is just okay. Then also we just if you can see, for example, our government, they more focus on technology, which
Victor,
means it is not
just so you know,
maximize on it. But there's
your
all a
your
lot of
voice
backward
is not.
aspect of technology, seeing the nature of tech, the
I don't know if
nature
Victor
of
can hear
us
me. Victor, just so you know, you're not coming across
approaching
smoothly.
it.
It's
I will say, for
it's
example, this
disappearing and then
case,
it's coming, disappearing and coming. Just so you know. Yeah, thank you.
what can I really do? Okay. Am I now okay? It's still disappearing? I can't even now get you. You've muted.
No, I was saying we can hear you okay now.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah. So I was saying that the aspect of technology in Africa, the nature of how we've identified ourselves with the technology, is on the last mile aspect. So we consider that if the government is not providing the skills, it's not working, the government is not providing the devices. So that is why politicians also are hooing us with a form of aspect that, oh, I've gave uh 100 devices in this school. I've donated. I've done this. So we feel like, oh, there's work, which we feel is just okay in a way because it's last mile, it's very vital, but there's more to it. We need to think about it. It's very essential that if the devices, the microchip is coming, the minerals for making the microchip is coming from Africa, but realize that we just want to be consumers of the device, of not thinking, how do we, if the microchip is coming from DRC, the lithium batteries are being made from the cobalt that is being, our mothers and fathers are straining a lot just to get that cobalt. The lithium batteries are being, the electric cars that we consider so technological, all these are coming from us. This nature of understanding and seeing technology in Africa is on the mind aspect, how we've been played with, which means as much as we are consuming all these, they are very vital, but we need to rethink on how best the back side aspect of everything spending happening from the start to that. So the policy need to play a very big role, though the continent has put a lot of policies, but they are overridden because number one, just you can the next slide, then now I now go to that aspect. So the world considers just consumers, experiment and use as accept. And the saddest reality that I always think is that there's no way we're going to be taking the last mile every day and again and again. Yet, if you can see how vast the technology is growing so fast, if it is the only, it is the like technology is true. You just have to be very true on that. It's the next level tool if you don't think clearly on it. And just the way you are seeing our governments are being overridden to even take decisions of denying us opportunity to just get identified in our countries, just to have digital ID rolled, to have our data taken, and the data is, and Africa, we are controlling less than 2% of our data. So the data is stored in Europe and USA. You realize that sovereignty is fully overtaken, fully, because if somebody is able to have everything about you, and population is also growing so fast, and you realize that we are now going to be very vulnerable because you are known everywhere. Everything is known about you. You are very like there's nothing like we cannot. Yeah. So like you realize that sovereignty is hitched because sovereignty of the nations lies in the people. But when the people is fully known, everything they're doing and all that, their data is can be misused anytime, then the sovereignty is fully hinged. So we can't be just consumers of their products again. Like we can just have the product, yes, but just being that is okay. But there's much more we need to understand about the form of technology that is growing in Africa. The issue is we are not like more of pushing this to be of the people doing something bad that we have to not do. The issue is we have to create a new dimension. That's why I'm saying that it is us upon us to create a superior solution that's going to overcome any thoughts that somebody can come into Africa and influence it. Because technology has been Africa, whereby if somebody wants to do anything related to technology, the first thing that comes to mind to
Victor, are you there?
mind is the public
Victor, are
borrowing.
you there? Victor, are you there?
Public borrowing means I get
Yeah, Victor, we can't hear anything you are
the
saying
money
in the last 1 or 2 minutes.
somewhere.
Just so you know. Yeah. We didn't hear anything you said in the last 1.5 minutes. Okay. Just so you know.
Brother Kwame, I think we should do this talk again so that we can hear it properly because it seems very important.
Very important. He's gone off again.
I do.
Victor, are you there? Victor, we can't hear you now. We were hearing you okay before, and now we can't hear. It's on and off. Okay. I don't even think he's hearing me.
No, I think maybe we should just try the talk a different day because it sounds really good.
I agree. He seems to be talking, but it's not coming through. Yeah, Brother Pigeon, contact Brother Victor for us. Let him know that he's not coming through anymore.
Yeah, irony is that we are talking about
okay,
technology.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Thank you. And welcome, Brother Pigeon. Glad to see you're able to join us.
What I was trying to say here in the meantime, while we are trying to
okay. I think Victor is left now. That means his internet is not working. So I think he's discussed a lot with us, and he was at the point where he was talking about the consumers, experiments, and the users. Yeah, sorry, someone is knocking at my door. Let me just find out. Give me a moment, please. Is Brother Pigeon there? Or Brother Coco, you can continue. I'll join you in a moment. There's somebody at the door.
All right. Yeah. I mean, what I was saying is that the irony of
ends at scale, it ends at divide.
He's coming back. He's really struggling. And today's discussion was on technology, how technology is important in connecting Africa and in uniting Africa. And as you can see, we just can't connect ourselves, because I am sure we depend a lot on foreign providers, not just foreign providers, also foreign satellites, foreign cables, foreign everything. And this was an opportunity for us as Africans to come together and put what is our own. It's always important to have your own thing working for you. Otherwise, no. All right, Brother Victor. Oh, are you there, Brother Victor?
Yes, I want to, yes.
Yeah, we
Brother
lost
Victor.
you.
Okay,
Continue.
let me please finish. Yeah.
Can you finish and ensure you have
I can
a stable
get you now
network,
clear.
please? So have a stable network.
I'm getting you clearly. I don't know if I've been seeing the mute, the microphone is hitting.
Okay, can you proceed? Let's see.
Okay, please go. Just go to the next slide. It's just very. So sorry for the network.
Brother Kwame, are you able to do that?
To show me the next slide. Yeah.
Brother
Want to go fast. I just need to go
you want to do to see someone at the door.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, I think I had a
So I was stressing on the issue of being.
Yeah, let me go to the next slide. There you go.
Yes, please. I'm seeing that and just move.
We still can't hear Brother Victor very well. This is Ida was saying.
Okay.
Brother Victor, we can't hear you very well. Brother Coco, what did you agree with Brother Victor? As Sister Ida was suggesting.
Nothing, because literally when you came in, that's when we had him clearly, and we thought he could continue. So how is it now, Brother Victor?
I think I can get everybody.
Yeah, we are struggling. We are struggling big time. What we should do, I suggest, is to continue the discussions from where you presented, and probably rearrange and see what happens next Saturday. Maybe things will be better then.
I think it will be hard, because this is the third time you're postponing his presentation based on his issues. So I don't know how we'll go about it.
All right.
But time is always there. So at some time we can hear him and hear it clearly. If you're all having load shedding at the moment, it's no use us trying to listen to something we can't hear.
Okay.
What we can do, I'll talk to him to request him to do a pre-recording. So he can do a pre-recording of his presentation, then we can just go through his presentation as a pre-recording. We can play it. That can be possible. Better. So we can play a pre-recording of his presentations, then we ask question maybe after the recording is over. I think that can be better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the only way. He's been having network problem for now the third time, and we cannot anticipate that the next time we can hear you. So I'll ask him to do a pre-recording, then we actually can upload something like that, and then we play it here, and then we ask a question out of that.
Sounds good, because it sounds a really good and important conversation that we need to have. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
Okay, so Brother Pigeon.
Yes, Brother Kwame.
Yes. Well,
Yes.
since you're here, is your internet okay now? Is everything okay?
I'm en route back to my place after where I went to, but I'm online.
Oh, okay. But you're not at home yet?
Yeah, I'm going back.
Okay. In that case, Brother
Can you now
Coco.
get me?
Yeah.
But
Brother Coco.
I can do anything. I can share, I can talk, I can do anything.
Okay, it's
Okay,
fine.
so
No, you since you're on your way home, you get home. Let Brother Coco check the next part for us. Brother Coco, let's have a discussion around what he's discussed so far. For
Okay,
the next
can you
20
now
minutes.
get me? Can you now get me kindly?
We can hear you. Yes. What do you want to say, Brother Victor?
Still, I'm inaudible.
No, because any moment we cannot proceed. You are having network problem the moment you start a presentation, so we cannot proceed.
I think I've joined with my phone though. I was using my laptop. It's okay. Thank you.
No, what
He's clear. He's clear now. Let him proceed for the first.
Let me just take 10 minutes. I just finish on this. I really don't hear.
All right.
What I've said is that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for the begin. Yeah, thank you so much. So let me just finish on up because I didn't want to. Yeah, so let me just go fast and we see how things go here. So we were looking at the prospects or the different categorical of, let me say, how technology has been really growing since, and we were saying that the art of invention did not small start just yesterday or like everything that we see today. These things are rolled in a very deep reality that to some extent are dated back. But I just want to see the context of the current economy that we always talk about in terms of its growth and everything. When we know that when us Africa, we were starting agricultural more of revolution or economy in after the 1960s, to that context, when our people in the other countries like the USA, the Europe, Ukraine had gone a lot of years, over 100 years of agricultural form of revolution. So realize that they had got that stage so much bigger, and that was more of pure aspect of it. Then when they came to industrial revolution, they had a very united format of doing it. That is why you see most of industries, in terms of the mineral resource processing, are there because they took a lot of period of time setting up industries, and realize that still our ancestors, or let me say ourselves, were people working there. But if you come to Africa from 1960, we were more of starting to almost first look at what was happening and trying to adopt the same. We started with agricultural. If you look some of the countries like Kenya, we had the land back, like more of go back to your land, start doing agriculture. Those are some of the policies that were there. Then we took to then from 1970, we started setting up industries like sugarcane industry, which today most are privatized, yeah, to some extent, yeah, because of that. So you look at that, then the other aspects that we now look at the information age, we started to recognize that there are minerals in our land. We started more of this extractive form of economy coming there. So realized that it was growing and the technology was coming by. So 2010 to date has been a date of, if you can look the productivity of Africa from 1960 to 2009 in terms of economic growth, it is more positive than from 2010 to today. Why? Because the disconnect has been there. Let me say, if today we are to grow in technology fully as a country, as a continent, we are forced to grow in. We have to be forced to grow into it. Yeah, because there are some stages that we didn't fully realize. Something like industrial revolution. Even today, if we are to say we have artificial intelligence coming to Kenya, or automation, we are not going to automate anything if we didn't fully have all the parts of good industry set. So you automatically, we are not going to automate anything. Yeah. Still, those people realized these things, did a lot of work back then, and had full suite of industrial revolution, full suite of agricultural revolution, and even add industries that now taking our extractive. Now we call it extractive economy here, but they still take the produced one and they do it over there because they go through that full industrial revolution. So all these things are things that grow on a longer period of time. But the issue is, fourth industrial revolution has two approaches. It is either going to cut us down, or we cut, or we use it as a weapon to change the world. That is the reality. Because if we don't do that, then it's going to be one of the biggest mistakes, not just made by people in technology, but people even the Pan-Africanists. Because this is the time that Africa can change the world in any other phase that we want. Why? Because we have that youthful aspect of us. Can just go to the next slide. I just want to finish on up. So next is that we are forcefully growing in this economy, especially in technology. Is a fact we have to take as a reality. Because there's nobody where you're going to tell Kenyans, like for example, Africans, that, okay, we are going to the fourth industrial revolution. There are people talking about AI, big technological revolutions, yeah, which are just like there. But still, there is important aspect that the digital infrastructure. Today, if you can check the map of Africa, all of it, we have submarine cables that are laid by Chinese. Those are the first mile connectivity. They laid it through the oceans running. The US tried to lay theirs, but they are not connecting it the continent because they feel like Chinese is intruding. So there's a lot of geopolitical internet war that is going on that are not even on the news. So if you check the map of Africa, there is an aspect of submarine cables like surrounding us. Yeah. So all that is, we don't like more of Africa. We just see the Wi-Fi, the last mile, the internet. We just want to see. Even now I'm facing this challenge. I know the issue where it's coming from. The data centers are very critical for us. Currently, by an estimate, Africa needs around 700 data centers for it to grow its digital economy. Leave a lot for it to be sovereign. Today, Africa, we are not even having more than 100 data centers. But still, even if we have others set in the continent, the restriction control, this restriction of the control of that data center, still you get that others are controlled by people, not from within Africa. So they just come and build it as a building there. It stands there. It doesn't have any, like, the control is still coming from outside. That's why you will never see people like Alibaba, Amazon, all these countries, all these coming and having a full suits operationalized offices in Africa, because still the data is there, so they can do the market prospects, do everything there, understand everything that's happening, and do it. So until Africa will migrate all its data from all these other continents, and we set it in continent and we restrictly control it here, that is the point. You will see Amazon trying to now come and set the offices in Africa so that they're able to create for us even jobs and diversify our economy in terms of flow of goods. Satellites are very important in terms of, let me say, even now, you can check that the whole world, currently there is 95% of access to internet through satellite technology, but it has been monopolized by USA. Yeah, broadband is a very form of technology that's coming. The energy, we stressed a lot on it last time here, but there's a game changer that we have to look, the purchasing power. Africa is not that we don't have people who are skilled on all these essential areas. That is the issue that I always say. We have people who are very knowledgeable, people who can do all these things, but you realize that our economy has been evolving, does not allow these people to stay here. If they want, they can't. Because if you take somebody who's in 5G network technologies, who has learned that I'm a Kenyan going and learn it in USA, 5G technology, you need to wireless technology. Coming to Africa, there's nowhere you're going to apply that knowledge. You have to be there. So purchasing power means having ability to retain and create markets, like more of inclusive market, or a market that is able to embrace our skill sets. You know that people are not skilled in our, let me say, Africans are the people who have invented a lot of things. Today we can start institutions in Africa teaching people to have that thing. But if you're not going to be thinking, that's why I'm saying that as we have to dissociate ourselves with the linear format of thinking that we have to do this to do that, is a lie. You can do that, do this, but whenever you're going to think of the other one, is more like it is not going to work. Like it's more, you're going to still do that, but there's others surging up from the ball below. So what we need is forward and backward linkages, looking at everything in a forward basis, backward, what short-term and long-term basis. So purchasing power is going to be very, very vital. And this purchasing power is what has ridden Africa. A lot of the brain drain, all that is happening because of that. So it's a very aspect of it all, because the infrastructure can be laid out clearly. when the purchasing power is there. The data centers can be there, the purchasing power is there, because the purchasing power is able to bring every skill on board. The satellite technology, the broadband, all these are there. So the issue is we don't have to frame our development or plan in terms of what the other world are doing. Our plans has been very short-lived. And that's why I'm saying that our governance need to have a long-term strategic action plan that is embraced on a systematic format and not just on a governance level of, I want to do for you this, I want to achieve this with you. It's not going to end at that point. So you can go to the next slide. Go to the next slide. Yeah, so where is our power? I want to answer this question in a very short period because this is what I'm really integrating in Africa, the Digital Inclusion Alliance. And like there's social capital in Africa that is provided by the population. So in 100 years from now, not even 100 years, in some 70 years from now, 1 in 4 people will be from Africa. 77 or close to 800 million of new workforce will be added to the global market by 2050, purely from Africa. So there is no any continent in the world, that is a fact, that has any power to grow apart from Africa. USA can be moderate. Europe can not even be worse. Asia is not going to grow anymore. Therefore, even though they are the highest now, but you can see what is happening with them. Yeah, they're not going to have that power to grow. So Africa has got a very huge, but why? Because if it is able to turn around all these, the formats of how it has been economically growing, it's able to tap onto that power, create a very unique, leverage this social capital asset, which is already provided by the population. I'm sorry, that word did where? And provided, and then this social capital asset is not just important when we are not able to leverage the human capital asset of it. But the human capital asset is not the looking the value. And the value will never be driven in the aspect of, I want somebody who's looking somebody from the aspect of, you have to get this skill. Like we borrow the concept of what is in somewhere and try to fit it in context of somebody. Let me give you an example of going to a village whereby people just keep animals. They want to embrace technology. The first thing is that connect getting is, how does the animal and technology comes in? How do I benefit? That is the value aspect of it, of what I'm speaking about. The human capital will never be of them moving from living their cattle, which they feel like is the most important thing, and going to another area. Or if that is the issue they can do, if it's going to fall in, that is like it has to be from the point of equity. So we are going to have a very inclusive, self-sustainable financial model that is able to impact our continent. So that is our power. Let me say, if there is nobody who's going to come up, let me say, I always say that anytime I see anyone come with a project for technology of impacting Africa, but the prospect or the target has been that the first thing that is in the table is the money, and that is the public borrowing mindset that is adopted by our politicians. That way, when they come up with any project they want to do in the societies related to technology, what campuses, where do we get the money to do this? Not what the people we are going to be impacting with this, so that we understand them first, so that we're able to grow with them on that level. So this is going to give us an eye opening in terms of how we are going to be impacting our society. So the power lies in the population, but the power lies in a human capitalized population. Also, the power lies in creating a self-sustainable financial model that is able to sustain itself. That is where the power is. Because nobody's going to be donating for us the VR machines, or nobody's going to be donating for us data center. They can donate a device, or they can donate some technological tools. But when it comes to our sovereignty, nobody's going to donate that. It's a reality we have to take in. And we are going to be thinking for over 1.4 billion people. That is the reality. You're not going to think for 2 people, or for women, for men. We have to think them on 1.4 billion people who are now, we look it from the point of, we go down and say that we group them, we categorize them and get what they feel like is connecting to them. So you can look at the next slide, and I think we're just going to be ending. So next time, I think I'll be sharing what ADIA framework is anyway, which I don't think I'm going to do today. So there's only, so just I was like stressing on this, that people, it comes at the center, purchasing power and flow as a shield. The issue is, I think if you can check how our economy are growing, is that what is important for an economy to grow is the flow of money within the people. But I will give you an example. Even our economy grows in Africa. 90% of the market is saturated with foreign goods. I buy something that is from China, money automatically goes back there. It's a fact. I buy something from Uganda, from USA, money automatically goes back there. It's a reality we have to just take. So imagine, I just want to see from this angle, sit somewhere, then see this. Somebody gives you a loan that you want to make your economy productive, but still this person is coming from goods from his country, still throwing in your economy. Still, the market, the global market, is not favorable for you. So the purchasing power is whereby if technology is going to allow us have the power to adapt to it and allow the purchasing power to make it flow within us, then automatically it's a shield. Nobody can think of that system. Nobody. Like, you can take, for example, a USA company or let me say a UK company coming, say that, okay, we want to override on that. There's nobody who is going to override where African population is at the center, and they've got a clear framework of having the purchasing power and flow within them. Nobody can think about that solution. Nobody. Even if somebody is going to take it as, let me say, somebody can say, okay, because you get that most of our African companies, I will give an example. In Kenya, we have something called the M-Pesa. It's a very good innovation, but it had to be taken by the Europe. The USA, sorry, yeah? Like, even now they own a bigger share of it. Why? Because the centering aspect of it, the innovation, was on the Kenyans, which they can't take away. They can't take it away, yeah? But they want to monopolize it. But when Africans as a population is able to look into itself and play with the game, so the game is on, playing the people. So people must be at the center. Purchasing power is a very key instrument, and flow as a key engine to make sure everything moves. So that is the criteria aspect of why I want to stop there. Then now is the last slide, just to say that yeah, the game is that just play with the population, the mindset. There are very two key areas in terms of investing technology. So our people don't need to see technology as a privilege, as just something that is going to come. So Africa is the only country that is going to have that ability to create this superpower technological solution for Africa. And I know it is very possible. And the possibility does not just lie on one person. Yeah, it lies on collective mindset, and that the collective mindset has to be get at the point of where they are. So that is all that I just wanted to share shortly. But the issue is that technology is the game changer. Is a two-sword in a way. It's like two sword that is like you have two-sided. Yeah, there's a sword part of it that you can use to dramatically change everything about how the world is. But the other sword is, if you don't maximize on it, can be the most dangerous slavery tool we never wished even our ancestors to receive. It's a reality that we just have to take as blunt as it is. Because if all these cloud, I was talking of the data centers, cloud services are still somewhere. Like the cloud, I told the cloud, but the cloud is somewhere. So like we just need to have all this knowledge so that we're able to grow the continent from the aspect of, if technologies, if even the government does not have any power over technology, they have to just embrace it. If that's why from 1960, 19, all that, they keep on looking at what can we do, how can we do it? Because it's forced, like they have to do it, they have to embrace it. Yeah, like it's a necessity. So the necessity of technology is what? Everything, the foundational aspect of technology has been more from Africa, though what we are being taught to some extent might not display that. The reality is that the mindset and the population and the purchasing power and the flow is critical in recreating a super technological environment in Africa. That is my presentation today. And I hope next time, I think we'll now talk. But like I just didn't want to talk about Africa Digital Innovation Alliance. Yeah, though I've been doing it from May. Yeah, from May this year. So we've been just doing some of it. But I know I'm growing to that point whereby it's going to be a reality for me to see everything work. So that's my brief presentation. I know things are going
Brother Victor.
Yes.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Before we have a discussion, I want you to do two things. I want to first answer a question I want to ask. And then second, I want you to do something else before we open the floor. The first question I want to ask is, do you have this in writing, what you've just told us in these 10 slides? Have you written it anywhere?
Of course, I have got, let me see, I have got everything written. I think, yeah, I have got everything written down.
Are you able to share the writing with us? Is that something you can do?
It is a very long, like, let me say about the Afro Digital Alliance, I have got 15 programs with 5 chambers. It's more of an institution. So like I'm building an institution that...
Yeah, I understand. What I'm asking is, have you written, I'm talking about the explanation for the 10 slides you've just shared with us. The explanation of the slides, what it means in writing. Is that something that you've done already?
For now, the presentations about this, I have not put them in a one compiled notebook. I just took out important areas of what
supposing that each slide there is 1 page. It's a 1-page explanation. That means you can produce 10 pages.
Very much.
Yeah, if each slide is a half a page explanation, you can produce for us 5 pages of
a lot.
Basic explanation. No, just basic explanation, so that what you've shared with us can be in writing. So that's my first question to you. Is that something you can do for us?
Yeah, definitely I can do that in a very good way.
Okay. Because it will help us, because I am struggling to understand everything you have said. And yet, as Sister Ida said, we have a feeling that what you're saying is so important. It's so important, and that we need to know. It's as if you are telling us about the Holy Grail, you know. And we want to know about it. So if you can do that for us, I'll request Brother Pigeon to work with you to put it in some kind of writing for us. That's my first request. My second request is, if I go back to the beginning of the slide, from slide 1, which I'm doing at the moment, can you just give us 10 sentences, 1 sentence each for each slide, what it's about, just 1 sentence for each slide, and then we'll open the floor as a kind of summary. Are you able to do that? Hello? Brother Victor, has he gone? He's not hearing me. Okay. Right. Okay, I think he's gone. His internet is gone just after that. Okay, Sister Mara, you had your hand up. Yeah, carry on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I was just going to ask Brother Victor, who's unfortunately fallen off, that has he tried to look for African venture capitalists to maybe provide finances to inject capital into the ADIA? And then also
what's ADIA?
The Afro Digital Alliance, the institute that he's setting up.
Maybe he's trying to avoid that, Sister Myra. He doesn't want the Europeans to take it over.
No, not Europeans, African venture capitalists.
Okay. I hope the man is African though.
Yeah.
They're not a front for European money. That's what I'm trying to say.
I know. Yes, absolutely. So he would have to kind of be very discerning.
Okay.
But then the other thing was also, again, what happened to M-Pesa? That shouldn't be happening. So I was wondering whether maybe as part of his institute, he could have could scout for African talent and African technology and bring it into his institute and also put as a rule in his institute that the technology should remain in African hands and there should be no shares from foreign owners owning the shares in that technology so that it remains African. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's called, his organization is called Africa Digital Inclusion Alliance.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Yeah. That's on slide 1 on the screen. Okay. Thank you for your contribution. He's not here, but I think the recording will be available for him to listen to. All right, the floor is open. Brother Pete, have you got home yet?
Almost like 5 to 10 minutes, but I'll ask Sister Myra to write the question in this chat so that I can follow up on the recording. I can be able to access questions, text of this. So just put it on a chat, then I'll follow up on the recordings.
Okay.
All right. Since you are on the way home, Brother P, let us not bother you with having to chair this part of the meeting. So
I can.
While you are working, I don't feel it's right. I just don't feel it's right. I think to let you get home safely first. Yeah. So that you keep your eyes on the road.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
So if Brother Coco is available, Brother Coco, are you available? Okay, doesn't look like he's available.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Right. Thank you, Brother Coco. We've had a discussion. Let's have a discussion. I would like you to chair the discussion part, please. For the next it's now 37. Let's discuss maybe until 10 to 9. Is that okay?
All right. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Thank you. Can you share that, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to step in. My own observations before I try to facilitate for the others is Brother Victor's presentation was interesting, really interesting. And I found myself thinking about lots of things which are coming out of this presentation. But largely of that was that Africa has moved through the stages of development rather swiftly, from agrarian economy during colonialism or even before, and then all of a sudden we find that we are in the fourth revolution, even before we have gone through the second or the third. So Africa has sort of found itself plunged into the deep end here. And from what he has said here, he has used a lot of purchasing parity. Purchasing power. Talk about purchasing power. And I would like to work with him to sort of understand exactly what he's saying about this, because purchasing power is about the amount of goods or services money can buy. And it's an economic concept which we don't want to confuse with capital. So the purchasing power is the amount that I can buy of my salary here in the UK compared to if I was in Africa. So it's more of the affordability that one can have. But when he is back, we can talk about that. But for now, let me allow comments, questions from members. What have people learned? What do people have in mind how can we improve this, because this is a key area which we need as Africans if we are to go anywhere fast. I don't see any hands, questions, but I see you. I see the first hand. Go ahead, Sister Maya.
Then the other thing I was thinking is, at the moment, there's also other people on the continent that are also innovating. So maybe I would have wanted to ask Brother Victor if there's any networking that his institute has done to kind of make those connections and build those networks. And maybe they could come up with some solutions of how to move forward. Thank you.
Excellent. So more of who else is in the industry doing this?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
who else is in the industry funding this?
Yeah, for Africa. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you find that countries like Pakistan, India, and I think to an extent South Africa, they are outsourcing. They are being used as telecenters of support, but we don't see much of that happening across Africa. I know that some of my support for my laptop here is in Cape Town in South Africa. So the question is, if South Africa can do that, are we resourced enough to do that as Africans across the continent? Any further questions, comments?
Yeah, this is Shola. I just wanted to comment a little bit on the presentation. It was how do I put it? A lot of information on the 10 slides. I feel it could have been narrowed down a lot more. So that if his focus is on IT, it should be solely on IT. If it's on politics, it should be solely on politics. So that was kind of a little confusing for me because it kept going back and forth. If I did hear somebody talking about financing. If he is looking for financing for this program, it may be a hard sell because people who have the funding would not be interested in politics. So I think he should maybe go back to the drawing board, as Brother Kwame said. He needs to give a precise presentation so that we can understand what his stand is in regards to what he wants to do. Thank you.
Fabulous. So try to cover both politics and information technology separately, not mix and match them, so that his presentation is much more clear, or it sort of explains what his standpoint is.
Brother Coco.
Go ahead, brother.
I'm not able to be doing the writing, but I don't know if these questions are written somewhere, because I propose that unless I'll share with him the recording so that he can listen to the whole recording, then maybe he can pick the questions from there. But if it was to be typed in a chat thing, then I can easily access them and maybe share with him.
He's back. He's back, so don't worry about that. But the question which Sister Shola said I put forward was, I think it would be important for you to go back to the drawing board, as Kwame has said, so that you can break this down a bit, so that politics and IT are not mixed in your presentation. Try to narrow it a bit, focus more on IT. And if you wanted to attract funding, lots of people who will be more interested in IT will probably not be so keen on the politics side. But let's be clear on what we are saying about politics and IT, or how they are they are married.
But Brother Coco.
Yes, go ahead.
So when I don't know if Brother Victor mixed politics and IT, but the question is, so who is he who is not interested? Because even politics is controlled, even IT is controlled by politics, because politics control everything. So who is this who we can give us his money, but not interested on the impact of technology on politics? Who is that person? Is he a liberal or conservative, or is he a Pan-African? Because if he's a Pan-African, he must be able to know how that IT actually touch on the life of the people socially and economically. And by touching on the life socially and economically, that's aspect of politics. Because politics actually control social and economic aspects. So I don't know if he brought politics in it so that he can see politics out, but I also think that actually even technology is a political tool for our control. And therefore we must have progressive Pan-Africans who are ready to come together to help us liberate ourselves from that political entanglement. Thank you.
Okay. I know Sister Shola will come back, but let me try to interpret what she said. She said, Brother Victor covered a lot in 10 slides. It would be better if he could go back and sort of try to create clear channels on how each one is important, or how each one comes out of his presentation, because the presentation, the way it was, is a huge summary of a lot happening in one go. Sister Shola, you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you summed it properly. I mean, like I said, I'm not, this is just a presentation. I'm not sure what the end goal is. Is it to educate us? Is it to get funding? So that end goal must be precise. What do you want out of this presentation? If it's to get funding, I can assure you that funders would not be interested in mixing politics and IT. That one I can assure you 100%. Okay, so if it's to educate us, it's good, it's great. So that I think that was what I wanted to allude to. Thank you.
Yes.
Brother Coco?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Okay, for this purpose of this meeting today, the presentation by Brother Victor, that's why he has not touched on his African Digital Inclusion Alliance. He hasn't touched on that, on his concept and the development. So the purpose of this presentation today was to see how IT plays a role in the liberation, unification, and development of Africa, which is our key goal. So if actually somebody, because he said maybe we'll give him an opportunity some other time for him to present now fully the concept of his African digital inclusion, for other people now who might be interested to fund or anything else. But for today, it was actually awareness and education towards how technology has a possibility or actually a chance to liberate, unite, and develop us. That, I think, is the clear purpose for this presentation today for us as CSG.
Thank you, brother. Sister Ida, before you come in, Brother Victor, is there anything you want to say to what Pigbin and Sister Shola have said?
I think I'm not good at justifying anything. I was just more of learning, because that is part of how I can do things better. But I know that my better intention was just to educate, and at least we learn together, because I'm also learning now. Yeah. But the issue was just to share my best knowledge, because when I started there, I said the more of my ICTs for socio-economic development, and realize that that can never go without a bit of politics, bit of it, because as much as we always consider it as something very separate from politics, it plays a very, very key role in doing a lot of things, especially in Africa now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother. As I said, I offered to help. We'll see, especially from the economic perspective. It felt like there is a lot of it, which I think is crucial, because it is through the economic power, economic might, that we can go anywhere. And that technology runs to parallel through all of those. Sister Ida, did you wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to add to what you and Sister Shola had been saying. And I also want to thank Brother Victor because it was such an interesting presentation. And I think that the fact that these Saturday presentations are giving people the chance to explore and explain what is in their minds. It's not necessarily a selling thing to investors or whatever. It's a way of trying to find out how we can move forward with Africa. And like Sister Myra was saying, and I think Brother Kwame, about the fact that, if you want Africans to actually invest in Africa, you have to talk to the Africans first so that they understand some of the ideas that can be used. And if it's just Africans you want, then along the way you have to find out how you can do that, how you can keep out the Europeans, or even maybe the Asians who work so closely with the Europeans, or other people who are going to, at some point or other, wanted to go back to Europe, because this is meant to be about uniting Africa and getting Africa to be one. So I love the fact that there were so many ideas. I heard Sister Shola, and I think that just tells us that we need to hear more from Brother Victor in smaller quantities of his ideas. I mean, focusing on whether it's economics or whether it's politics. Fine, we found that out. So I just want to tell Brother Victor, well done, because it was a good presentation and we need to hear more from you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you. Brother Coco, if I'm also coming.
God coming, yes.
Yeah, so I want to be brief. So I step back and ask you to check, because then I can also reflect on what I heard and then listen to what everyone also has to say. Because that's one of the beauty of not sharing. You can reflect. so I think that as Sister Ida was saying, one of the purposes for this Saturday meeting is for us to have a conversation around the unification of Africa, total liberation, and its development. And Brother Victor seems to be saying, if I heard him correctly, which I think I did, seems to be saying that at the heart of that development should be people and IT, whether as data centers, whether as purchasing power, or all the paraphernalia, that the people should be at the heart of that. Now, bearing in mind that we are saying, when I say we, I mean radical Pan-Africanists are saying that the welfare of the people is a supreme law. Then you see, Brother Victor is saying that we can actually actualize that welfare through technology and purchasing power. And if we put people at the center of the technology, not only will we have ownership of the data. And what I found interesting in what he said was that if the people are, we say the people are supreme, and they are in a republic, the people are the sovereign. They are those to whom power belongs. And yet, people know the toothbrush they use. People know, how many teeth is in their mouth. People know how short they are, how tall they are, how many this is in their stomach. They have all the data about the people, and these are your enemies. Then how are you going to be sovereign? How will you exercise your sovereignty? Wouldn't that be hard? So in the UK here, when the Prime Minister meets the crown, the monarch, the rule is you don't discuss what you discuss with the monarch in public. So we never get to know what they are discussing. And although they meet every week, nobody knows what they discuss, because the rule is don't make it public. And that's, I suppose, part of attempting to have control over your privacy, over your private discussion, or your private thoughts and things like that. And so what Brother Victor seems to be saying is that if Amazon and others have so much data about us in data centers in their countries, then how are we sovereign? So the time is 54, and I could say more, but I want to just end by saying that I agree with what everyone has said, and yes, brother Victor would like some funding if he gets it for the African Digital Inclusion Alliance. Why not? Even if he has all the funding for the alliance, what is wrong with having more finance for more work? So if redesigning the presentation in terms of a pitch for funding, and Sister Shola appears from what she said to be interested in that, then why not? Then she can work with, whether Sister Shola can work with Brother Victor to package some of his ideas so that we can see if the funders that Sister Shola knows 100% will not fund what they have heard from us. And why should they? We Africans, we are talking about our sovereignty, our unification, our development. We are talking about taking the power away from Europeans and Americans and others back to ourselves. Why would they be interested in funding us? Of course they will be interested. Of course they will be interested. But then if we cleverly package it so that it doesn't look political, then maybe they'll fund it, which is what Sister Shola is saying. So maybe Sister Shola and Brother Victor should be working in the same way as, that is if she wants to, by the way, let me quickly add, and the same way as you, Brother Coco, are saying you would like to work with Brother Victor. And I've also suggested that Brother Pigeon should work with Brother Victor to put the slides in writing so that we can understand more. Because I just feel that there is something there that I think is like a magic bullet. Sorry to use the word magic bullet. It seems to me that there is some magic bullet somewhere there that will just click for us, because it brings together technology, economics, human welfare, transformation, and all that. Anyway, let me end there. But I join Sister Ida and everybody else in thanking Brother Victor for a very dense presentation, but a lot in there, getting us to think, because he really made me think and make us think, and the ideas and so on. I mean, that is brother Victor. He's gone again. How old is he? He seems to be very full of ideas. Youth is good. Youth
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
ideas. Anyway, let me end there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
The most important bit was him starting. I think it's a start. The start is important. With the start now, we can take this idea forward. But what I have recognized, he mentioned a lot about all of our materials being developed abroad, and it's the same with technology as well. If only 20% of the data on Africa is kept in Africa, where is the rest kept? It means, again, we are being exploited with what is our intellectual property, our material property. There is a lot here which we need to unpack. I see that Sister Mara has her hand up, but I also want to recognize my brother Percy. Sister Mara, have 1 minute, please, and then.
Oh, sorry, brother Coco, brother Percy is only listening. He's not contributing. He said, yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, but Brother Ras may have something to say, but Percy is just listening.
Thank you. Continue, Sister Mara, and then to you.
Just quickly to what Brother Kwame said. But first of all, I just want to say thank you to Brother Victor. It's really exciting. I'm very, very excited by this presentation. And what Brother Kwame said about why would they fund us because we're taking the power back. What I think we should, as much as possible, Brother Victor should try to first find funding within Africa, because nowadays, of course, we have to mind how they got their money. But there's billionaires and millionaires these days on the continent. So if possible, the capital should come from the continent because it's there. It just needs judgment and where the money came from, but it's there.
Absolutely. Thank you. Brother Pigden.
Yes.
You can. I wanted to give, of course, a summary presentation since I was not here before. But somebody can go ahead and maybe coming later. But now I'm home.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. If I can jump in.
Go ahead, brother.
Yes, this is Percy here. What a beautiful presentation from Brother Victor. I felt like I need to highlight on this. Yes, he was actually emphasizing how can we deploy technology for our own unification as Africans. And it's a powerful tool. It's a very beautiful tool. It's a smart tool to be used. It depends what you're going to use it for destruction or for constructive purposes. So based on what he presented, I admire the aspect where he said, unfortunately, we don't have our own infrastructure, technological infrastructure based locally. We outsource a lot of means for our own communication means, and that puts us on a disadvantageous kind of position because we end up being consumers, but not set uppers or producers of this infrastructure of using technology. On top of that, I wanted to highlight to him as well, just to be aware of there's going to be a great need for setting up infrastructural development and all these data centers and etc., which you mentioned, which we are currently relying on foreign service providers. There is a project which will be coming, or which is already in process as we speak, by our own sister, Arikana Chihombori. She's a former ambassador for the UN in the States. She has got a project of inviting the diaspora to Africa for a lot of developments which needs to happen this side. Therefore, she established this other project called Wakanda, One Village. It's a multi-billion project which is going to be getting undertaken very soon, whereby there's going to be a lot of state-of-art establishment of different infrastructures, which is in IT, in the road system, in the health sector, in terms of setting up state-of-the-art infrastructure, hospitals, or IT centers, information technology hubs, and etc. and etc. It is going to be typical Wakanda kind of, as you know, the movie Wakanda. So she's there are many government head of states which are already backing her up to establish that project. It's huge, and definitely one of the key infrastructures which would be needed is the ICT, or should I say the information technology infrastructure setting up. That's where Brother Victor and his crew and his institute can be very instrumental in helping, in terms of contributing to that a big, huge, multi-billion project which will be happening in various states here in Africa, but it's going to start this side of the Southern African state. You can actually Google that project. It's called Wakanda, One Village. So I just wanted to highlight that part based on what he presented, on how he'll be needed, and certain other brothers and sisters who are all of those expertise in the ICT sector as computer scientists and etc. and etc. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much. I'm conscious of time. We are well past our usual 9 o'clock time, but since we had technological issues with the presentation, I have sought to allow that time. Just in sort of summary, Brother Pigbin, Brother Victor said, technology it's an interesting time. Technological development is an interesting time, but it's a double-edged sword. If we use it very well, we can progress as fast as possible. Even, I think make up for all the years of underdevelopment in which we're in. But if we use it badly or allow others to use it badly on us, it could be very, very damaging. That is the biggest issue. Then he mentioned the issue of economics here. It's more of the power, the purchasing power. That is what we need to sort of put the infrastructure we need in Africa. But again, let's remember is to facilitate the flow of money in the economy. With the flow of money flowing as it should, that velocity of money, it creates jobs for us. And if it's not happening in our economies, then it's happening somewhere else. And again, this is Nkrumah back again. It's Nkrumah all over again with neo-colonialism, the last stage of imperialism. If you haven't read that book, have a look at that. So you find that most of these guys who had old capital came in, bought most of our stuff, bought most of our companies, and even the technology now, they are still investing somewhere else, but coming in to profit on us because we are still buying lots of stuff from abroad. So it is time we think about building something that is African. And it will be good to put our heads together. They are our diaspora. There will be some venture capital firms in Africa or whoever else can fund this as long as they have a very good interest in Africa and largely if they are African. So we have agreed that we'll sit down together and see how we can unpack this presentation again to make it clear and bring it back to this meeting. Anything else from you, Brother Kwame, Brother Pigbin? I'm handing over to you guys.
Yes.
Now.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Brother Pigeon. I think you can close the meeting and then tell us what is happening the next week. Also, an announcement.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for this. I'm really sorry for being late, but I've made it home due to some technical issues.
That's wonderful.
Brother Victor, of course, I'll be meeting him next week. He's a young man, almost of my age, 27, 28. And we as CSG have supported them before. They held almost 14 sessions of their virtual meetings using our account, which I was opening for them, and they were logging in. He has members across the continent. In fact, they were attending up to 54 of them, and they were discussing their strategy for this year and how they build the plan for the whole continent. So that African Digital Inclusion Alliance is already organized and set up. And we at CSG have come in to give them our account for actually their meetings, which I was opening and closing for almost 10 to 14 sessions. So we are doing something. We have done something for Brother Victor, and it's what we as CSG are ready to do to any of our members who is trying to push for something progressive. This is why we are here, because we are actually there to support one another. So that must be noted. We must work together. Data is the new mineral. The new oil in the market is data. So let's see how we can use it. Unless I'll work with Brother Victor to put down what is necessary and what is needed. The biggest problem is the bureaucracy in African leadership. And also our works and our jobs and our mentality has not moved digital. And therefore we need also to shift our thinking, our work, our opportunity digitally, so that when we create digital, actually, first of all, it's digital inclusion. Everybody can access data, internet. Then when you access it, there's job you can do that's productive. So those are things we will have to discuss, and they are actually, he has prepared them and worked on them. So I do appreciate him, despite of the challenges, and I do appreciate everybody who has been patient to his presentation. And we will actually give him another time to do better presentations. So let's work together as a team. Our intention is the liberation of Africa. If we can even make digital to liberate us financially, we have done something as an African and as a class and as a people. So without actually wasting much of your time because I was late, I really want to appreciate you all. And let's meet again next Thursday and Saturday. I had requested for speakers to work for forthcoming conference. I've been up and down trying to work on that and work on any other things. I've got a list already, and I think by tomorrow on Monday, I'll be able now to set out the people who are coming in already and the program that have already been selected. Those that have not been selected, we'll put them aside and we'll organize another conference some other time later to discuss them. But those that have been selected will start coming up with program which I will share by the course of the week on how we tend to handle them on Thursday and Saturday. Sister Ida proposed that we better have a few people. If you have 10 people, let's have even 4 presenting on Thursday. We have a discussion about it, and another people present on Saturday. So we will have that, and I'll work on that, and I'll start sharing in regards to that. So next Thursday, we might not be having a CSG reading class, but we'll have a conversation. This is a radical Pan-African conversation, and our intention is what must be done. What must be done in terms of any topic that you're going to discuss, and that will form our foundation for our action plan. Then we can set up a small committee as a follow-up and draft something and move forward. We are not only to discuss and talk; it's a thought for action. So let's think and come out with what must be done, and let's act. That's what I'm looking for. So thank you very much, everybody, and may you have a blessed evening.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you,
Brother
brothers
Colin,
and
you close the meeting.
sisters. Yes.
You are the host.